sorry, the Eliza starter is separate, but like we have the ability to create the Eliza app. We have all these clients. Probably what you're going to do is either going to publish npm. Like let's say we got this like client Discord, right? That's actually here. The code for the Discord client is here in the Eliza repo, right? But if you don't care about changing that, and you were to make like the Eliza starter, and you go to batch.json, well, you can see it's importing the client Discord. So it's actually importing all the stuff from the main Eliza repo into a folder in your repo that's just focused on being something you can extend with your own agent. So you probably start here, make your custom plugin, but also probably want some of the plugins that we already created, or community created. You might want the Twitter plugin, you might want the Bootstrap plugin. And so this just allows you to work in a more lightweight way without having to deal with all of the craziness of the main repo, because you probably just want to like, take this and customize it, and then you don't have to fork main repo. You're just working like a way smaller slice of the whole thing. I hope that kind of makes sense, right? So this is nice. It just works. There's not a lot of code in here. You can't customize the plugins that already exist, and you can't edit any of these plugins from here. You're just installing them. But you can add new plugins here as long as you want, and that's actually what I recommend. The only reason you would really choose Eliza over Live Starter is, well, this is like the latest main branch of everything. It's just like super bleeding edge. And then you might want to like actually like add new Twitter functionality directly into the client and then pull requests. You know what I mean? Or add like some first party kind of stuff to one of our plugins. But if you're just working on your own plugin on a private repo, I would really recommend just like, yeah, start with the Eliza Starter. Now we should probably pull all these in, make sure it's up to date. Update readme. Okay, well, I can get to that. And we probably also have to take a look at what these are. Let's go see just readme changes. We'll have to do a little bit of a cleanup map, make sure it's the latest version. And you can tell it's not the latest version because it's like on v0.4, which is v0.15. So maybe some version lag. But generally, this should be building on a stable build, and you just don't have to worry about a lot of problems that people had like 2 weeks ago, where like everything's changing like crazy and the versioning is just going nuts. So the Eliza starter is like, I know this repo works with these versions, and I know that you could probably fork it and hack your own plugins on top. And if you want to, you can then put those plugins back into the main core and submit them as a pull request, or or whatever you kind of want. I hope that makes sense. So kind of zooming back, see where were we? To we have our agent. Our agent has hello world action. I don't like that as much. It's kind of gross. I like our dev school plugin thing. Like we don't actually need this whole plugin here. Get rid of that. Back to where we were. Undo. And now you can see we just have that dev school plugin again. And we go with the dev school plugin. You can see, okay, source code's here for hello world. You know, let's try current news. Maybe it's a little harder, right? I made this at the beginning. We never even tested this. So current news action. Let's go register it in the plugin. You can see we only have this one action. So we'll add this other action and we'll import it. Right? And now it's going to load both those actions. And if we, I'm just going to kill this and just restart it. I expected that I'd see, what I don't think would happen unless I restarted is that the new action would register on the runtime. Because even though it updated the dependencies, it didn't necessarily update my running state of my agent. And I know that because I didn't see the initializations happening again. So basically I had to restart in order to register this action that I just added, right? But you can see it's there, current news is there. Great. Now let's go to our client again. And we'll say, hey Snoop, can you check the news and get me all the current news for AI16Z? And we'll see what happens. It's having some issue where it's calling it inside of the response. We'll have to clean that up. It's just like not, you can see how it's doing that. No, I need you, I have to fix that. Actually, that's right. You need to respond with action current news.
Current news is a good little function here for trading. Current news is a function call maybe in Eliza. This is a good feature for trading.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah, my bad, nephew. Here's current news. Cool. The current news for the search from AI16Z is something I can't read. It looks like Korean. It could be wrong, but pretty sure it's Korean. And then AI16Z a lot. And Gort continues token supply to AI16Z to drive AI enhanced engagement. Okay, cool. Gort's on it. Obviously doing some marketing. Lots of interesting stuff. DAOs have fun, meme fun. See market caps tank with the AI16Z dropping 80% last night. That's a little old, I think. I love when they're like, it dropped 80%. Like, yeah, that was last week. This is meme coins. Come on. And you see it's like pulling some of the most recent data, right? So cool. That's pretty good. I'm gonna be like, okay, cool, awesome, man. What's your take? What's your take on AI16Z? Now I should point something out. This message here is actually not going to be memorized by the agent because I didn't save it. I didn't save it. I want to. I want to save this as like a memory because now if it pulled it in, I'm like, what's your take on XQT? It actually doesn't have this in its memory, weirdly enough. We have to make sure that we save that. Cool. So let's see. Let's just add that thing. So we go to current news. And we're like, okay, we've got current news. We have a search. Oh, this is terrible. We should actually extract the search term, right? So we got a couple things we should do here. We definitely want to do one, extract the search term from the message, right? And then current news. And then two, we want to response text. We're gonna say const response text equals. Cool. Now we gotta save this as a memory. And the idea of saving it as a memory is that will like store it into its conversational memory and history, and it will then not just be posting this, but it'll actually have this in its ongoing conversation memory, right? Cool. So how do we do that? We're gonna say const new memory equals. That's not gonna work. We'll give it a memory type. And so what does a new memory need? Well, a memory is like memories and messages are pretty unified in our system. And they have it's something that I've struggled with for years. And like, how like the abstraction of what's being passed around and the abstraction of what's being saved are basically the same. Like what's being saved in the database is well, it's definitely like the message has an ID. Some user sent it. The agent that received it could actually be the user. The user and agent could be the same, but oftentimes they're not. The messenger memory was created at a certain time. This is the actual content of that.
Cause you
We might
only
have an
get
embedding,
one
which is
ticket,
Might
one
as
the
well
large language
enjoy
model
the
that has the
ride. Do
paragraph
what
sentences
the
stuff, right?
fuck
Like it's
you
the
wanna
direct embedding for it. We can then measure the distance to other embeddings and other
do.
sentences. There's a
And
room ID,
say
and the
what
room
the
ID is like
fuck
everything that happens
you
because we have a multi-agent
wanna.
simulation. We have to pull things from rooms, and a room could be like a Discord server, it could be a Twitter conversation thread, it could be a Reddit thread, it could be a 3D room, right? Like, but the idea is that these are where the messages happen, okay? And everything in our system has to have a room ID, and that's what kind of ties a conversation together. We'll also check if memory is unique. It's optional, but basically, if it's very similar to another memory, then we will like we can use this for facts and stuff. We'll say, okay, well that's not unique, so let's just like mark it as not. We'll save it, but we'll mark that it's like a repeat of something we already have, and then we won't have to recall it again. And then we also can measure. This is like a measure when we do a recall. We can have a similarity score. Like how similar are these two memories? Memories and messages are basically the same thing. If we get a message and we want to store it, it's like it's got this interface, and you can see it represents a stored memory slash message, and that's just like a fact of how this thing works, right? Um, so we have to create a memory. That memory has to, well, what does it have to have? It has to, let's just pull this off to the side real quick. Index.dns, sure. It's going to have a user ID, which is then, in this case, the memory is going to be the agent ID for sure, because the agent is the one responding. The agent is also the agent ID. The room ID is the room that the message that it was passed down came from, because we're adding to that room. The content is going to be the text that we're responding with, right? The action was already called in the last message. So we don't necessarily have to indicate what, I gotta think about how this would work. Yeah, we don't actually necessarily have to indicate what this is, but we could say like action, current news, response we want, and that would get stored. And then let's see, we'll say, okay, well, what's it missing? Well, the callback is not going to respond with, it doesn't care about the whole memory. It just cares about the new memory.content. So callback is going to return this content object. And this is actually, we don't have to cast it, but just so you know, we have this content type. And content type can have text, an action, a source it came from, a URL, in reply to, some attachment data, and then anything else you kind of want to add. But in reply to would be like if somebody messages and then you want to reply directly to that, like a Twitter thread, then it would be included in the content. And we can also like kind of crawl like, okay, cool, what is this in reply to? It's not just in the room, but it's specifically in reply to one of the messages in the room. And we also forgot something here that'd be important, which is source. And the source is going to be new memory.source. Is that right? I could have sworn. Oh, sorry, this goes in content. And then new memory.content.source. Oops, message.content.source. Let's do that just in case. And that way, the source that it's coming from, like, oh, this is a Discord message, is included in the content. We're still working on the source stuff. This might just become part of memory at some point for our message bus, but